Hey guys, most welcome. Please let me know if you can hear my audio as we get started. Most welcome. This is Ugaman, and hey, we in for the Ugaman live for what I'm about to discuss. But first and foremost, let me know if you can hear me. Guys, you need to let me know if you can hear me well. I need to understand if my audio is very clear, then I can be able to continue as we get started. Thank you, Ivan. All right. Um, most welcome. Most welcome as you enjoy the music in the background. So, our topic today is going to touch the opportunities that the young people can enhance or can create using social media. This topic is so wide, so I just want to do an intro, and more of this conversation is what we're going to be having. So, first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for always checking out this live stream and for also taking off time to listen to this content. For those of you that usually pick a thing or two, this is actually what I love, that when you share knowledge, when you share ideas, people end up picking something. So as we get started, I encourage you, share the live stream with all your other friends. Ask your questions. You can ask the questions via at Yogaman01. This live stream is actually also live on Twitter and Periscope. So please go ahead if you have any questions and ask below that. So that's what we're going to be going in for. You can also let me know what you do, where you are tuned in from, and exactly what you would love to know. So, as we continue on this live stream. So, most welcome, guys. Once again, my name is Mwebia Fred, also known as Ugaman, and you can find me at Ugaman01. For those of you that want to check me out on Twitter, you can find me at Ugaman01 on Instagram, and also you can find me at Ugaman on YouTube. So, most welcome to this wonderful show. Guys, it's been a while. It's been a while. We're trying to resume these live sessions. It's while I've been trying to do some bit of background work, but also sometimes it's good to, take off some time and you do some personal growth and personal development. So there is quite a lot that has been changing in the community. We know that when you look at the COVID period, a lot more people have been joining online platforms and especially social media. And as a result, many people have also been working online. So, meaning that one of the things that is a latest trend which we cannot afford to underlook or to actually, put in maybe a trash can is the online platforms and what they can do and what opportunities these platforms provide. So as we go into this show, I want to take off some time to actually give a clear preamble to this conversation. Quite a number of times, so many people want to create opportunities, so many people want to use social media to create something that benefits them. And this could be in terms of what they do, in terms of their work routine, it could be in terms of their academic success, and it could be also in terms of their career and talents. So, social media is just like any other digital tools, it operates on the internet. And when you talk about the internet, you all know that the internet has been around for almost 20 something years now. And it's not a very old, venture that happened to this world, but it's changing life rapidly. It's changing the way people communicate. It's changing the way organizations actually present themselves. It's changing culture. It's changing behavior. Therefore, the internet is actually one of those things that has entirely had a global impact, both negative and both positive, on the world. But as a young person, as somebody that is on Facebook, as someone that is on Twitter, as someone that is on Instagram, what are the opportunities that these tools do present to you? What are the opportunities that you can have, at the back of your mind to know that when I do this, this is what actually will come out. Now, first and foremost, before I go any further, I just want to tell you that the internet has so many digital platforms. Okay, it has got so many digital platforms, and as such, you have got to make a choice. That is level number one. You have got to make a choice on what platforms do apply to your industry, on what platforms you find very relevant to what you're doing, or you find very relevant to what you want to build. What I'm talking about today, I'm talking to somebody that actually is using social media for the sake of it, is using social media because it's the fashion of the day. But I'm now looking at the other side. I'm trying to rethink social media where it becomes an essential tool, where it becomes an everyday tool. Social media, one, can become a source of information, and it is a source of information. However, it is very important to also note that it has got all sorts of information. So you've got to be very careful on what you want to consume and what you don't want to consume. So that becomes very, very key. Secondly, social media is a very powerful tool for disseminating information, for sending out the information that you want to send to the people that follow you, or to your readers, or to the people that watch you, or to the people that listen to you. That is also very, very important to understand. The other thing that you really need to understand, that the type of content or the format of content you use varies on what you find comfortable. For example, I personally never used to do a lot of video, I never used to do a lot of audio, but over time, this is what I am actually practicing to do, because it is helping me reach out to more people, but it's also helping me reach out to an audience that loves to listen to podcasts, that loves to watch videos. Just like this live stream that I'm doing, there are people that actually would rather have this than go and read an article. So content goes out in different formats, and it is very key to understand your potential, to understand which format is very, very convenient for you to communicate what you want to say out your story, to sell what you want to sell to the world. It could be an idea, it could be a business, it could be a product, it could be a partnership, it could be anything that you want to put out. And the biggest opportunity that social media offers today is that it gives you the opportunity. You really decide on what journey you want to take. You really decide on what conversations you want to make and on what networks you want to build, because social media has all ranges of people, talented people, career people, people in organizations and associations, people that are there, for the sake of entertainment. It has got fun, it has got bullies, it has got all sorts of people on these platforms. But making a choice as you start out is very, very, very key, because this is what will help you to understand what kind of line you're going to take, and also to understand what kind of community you want to build. What should remain key to you is you are on social media because you're going to build a community. Whether the community is going to be private or public, or it's going to be anyone that follows you or anyone that you're open to connecting with everybody, at the end of the day, you're building a community. And for you to be effective in this community, you've got to get a format, okay? You've got to find out what format of content you want to do. For example, if you're not very good at written content, then you may decide to do a podcast. Then you may decide to use audio. You may decide to use visual. You communicate in pictures and very short videos. That is all available. And this is a choice that you have. And this is what social media does, because it's not limited. It's not limited like how maybe in the previous past, where people would only be limited to a blog, people would only be limited to a website or email where you have to write an email to somebody. Today you have all different tools that you can use. Either you can use voice, or you can use video, or you can use text or photos, and all these short clips to communicate your message. But what you should have at the back of your mind, that if you're going to be creating opportunities on social media, then you need to understand your strength. Okay, one of the challenges that I have identified, even me as an individual, I did go through it, is when you sign up on these platforms, sometimes it is so hard to actually shape your own journey. Most times we start out and get lost, and then we find we've wasted a lot of time. Then we come back to the drawing board, and we want to start something to say, hey, this is where I want to drive. This is now what I want to do. Because at that particular time, you have come back to an understanding that these platforms can be used to create impact and to create opportunities for yourself. Okay? And as such, that is what happens almost to everyone. I want to tell you guys that social media does not have a single formula for anyone to tap into its success. But it also has some of the basics that you really need to put in practice so that you can be able to benefit out of this. For example, your personal awareness is a very key factor in your success. Understanding where you want to go, understanding what you want to do, understanding the kind of community you want to build is very, very, very important. And this is the point where most people get lost, because you're close to someone who is associated to sports, or you're close to someone who is associated to fashion, or you're close to someone who is a media personality. And the way they use their social media is one that you think you should be also adapting, is one that you think you should also be taking on. And then later on, you discover that, hey, you don't actually share the passions these people have. Okay, despite the fact that a media personality is doing so well on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, they may be succeeding at that because of their kind of job. They may be succeeding at that because of their kind of audience they are exposed to in media. Now, for you as someone who is in office, as someone who is into fashion, into music, into sports, that same aspect may not work for you. But remember, what is very important to note is the world has got a huge user base of digital platforms. One thing that should never worry you is to think there are no people that will support what you're going to start. To think that there are no people that will support conversations about fashion, about style, about cosmetics, about food, nutrition, about medicine, about biology, about science. There are thousands in millions of people on these platforms that actually are interested in those conversations. But what is very key for you is to find how you shape your community to understand where you're headed to. And this also becomes a very, very important factor, especially when you are designing your personal profile. Okay. Now, over time, there are so many things that come in. Of course, why I said you need to have self awareness, you need to understand the kind of conversations you want to drive, is at some point, you're going to find yourself having to use these platforms to drive a narrative. At some point, you want to change communities. At some point, you want to change perception. You want to influence the community to believe in what you believe in. Your ideas are very, very key almost in every sector, just like how we live life, okay? You never live in a room and you lock yourself out, you lock yourself inside, and then you just don't want to know anything that is going around. One of the things also that you must bear in mind is the internet and social media prevails on trends. And as such, trends are the things that have the attention. Okay, so some of the key assets that you're going to be trading in or that you're going to be dealing with, even though it is not visible, is attention and trends. Okay, you need to know what is the conversation about. How do I find people that are talking about this? How many people are actually communicating about a given subject? This is what you need to be putting your attention and your focus on. Because at the end of the day, life is life, okay? And you don't want to be a slave of your own self. You want to use these platforms to create an opportunity for yourself to start and expand your career, to start and expand your business, to help other people market their businesses, but you need to remain a person. You need to remain an individual. You need to remain part of the community. Okay? So you've got to talk about things like reading. You've got to go play games. You have a family. You have kids. You have your wife. You have your girlfriend. You have your boyfriend. These are some of the aspects that you can never throw away from an individual. There are people that you're going to be supporting for your politics. But your core community should not actually be derailed because you are supporting all these other things. The reason why I talk about a personal profile and how you profile now, how you profile yourself on digital platforms is actually how the world is going to perceive you. And believe me, many of my friends and many people that I know have had an issue between deciding whether to reveal who they are to the online community or to remain pseudo. Okay, now I'll tell you both ends. Okay, both ends have advantages and both ends have disadvantages. Now, there is no social network that is going to force you to reveal your face. There is no social network that is going to force you to reveal what you do. Even though in the profile or in your profile as a user, they'll give you those options for you to be able to help the people that come to your platform to understand very fast who you are, what you do, what your passions are, what you care about. Okay? These are some of the revelations that are revealed in the profiles of individuals or users on social media. However, it is not mandatory that you should have everything filled out. Okay? For example, if you don't want people to know your birthday, you don't need to put it there. If you don't want people to know your real name, you don't need to put it there. But like I'm telling you, that at some point when you go deep into using these tools, you will discover that you need to have a platform where people understand you. Just like I have said, many people have become slaves of what they do. Like, I started out talking about fashion, but now I discovered that I love farming. Or I started out talking about music, but now I've discovered that I can be a good person at counseling. I can be a good person at motivational speaking. I'm a good comedian, so I want to do skits. This is why you need people to understand who you are, because when you put your voice on a certain thing, people need to remember that your core community is about something. Okay? I personally built a community that is about uh, creating stories for brands, is about uh, using opinions to influence the community. That is about looking at e-commerce as a bigger picture than looking at social media as a platform where you just post anything and you read anything. I'm looking at these platforms as an opportunity for entrepreneurs to actually spread their agenda, to spread their gospel, to spread their business ideas, to carry these communities that have startups, to carry these communities of people that don't have capital but can come together and um, create something tangible that can change community. To look at these communities where people fundraise funds, to look at this. So all these are opportunities that these platforms give you. But most importantly, and which I want also to let you know, is your ability to express yourself is another key area when starting to maximize the opportunities on social media. Many people get taken up because of what others are saying. Like I said, it is very good to follow trends. It's very good to follow where the attention is at. The biggest asset you trade in on social media is the trends and also attention. These are the two biggest assets. Even though not so many people talk about them, even though so many people actually forget that the real commodity that digital platforms make or digital platforms sell is attention. Okay? When attention shifts from one subject to another, a social media platform is going to create a trend on that area or that conversation or that subject that is actually driving the conversation. So, as an individual that is driving towards knowing how to optimize digital media platforms, you need to start to you need to become proactive. You need to read, you need to watch news, you need to open up quite a number of things so that you can be able to learn how to express yourself within something that is trending. And that is the space where many of the platforms today have adopted something called um, social media hashtags. What social media hashtags do is simply to give you the direction of focus and attention. Like I have said, I don't want you guys to get it the wrong way. If you are going to make business online, if you're going to promote somebody's business online, you need to know where attention is. Your capability to think fast, your capacity to think fast and move with the attention span of the internet, the better you become at creating content. Because look at this scenario. You talking about football or you're dealing in sports, but you actually don't know what the latest trends are in that sport. You're going to have an information gap. And when you build a community, the community will not feel your vibe because there is an information gap. There is something they read in the newspapers, there is something they read on the internet, but hey, in your community, you don't talk about it. The same thing will come to fashion, the same thing will come to music, okay? The same thing is going to come to e-commerce. You are talking or you're teaching people how to use digital tools, but then there are these tools. Twitter has now voice notes, Twitter has now stories, Instagram has stories, WhatsApp has stories, Facebook has these, LinkedIn has stories. Now, this is a trend that is cutting across all platforms. And as someone that is starting out, or as someone that is planning to do business on social media or using these tools to actually create opportunities, you need to be able now to understand, why are all digital media platforms having stories? Why would someone want to run a story on Instagram than posting a video? Why would someone want to run a story on Twitter than doing a Twitter live session like what I'm doing now? Why would someone want to post a picture, on Facebook stories or in Facebook groups or in Facebook communities? So these are all different aspects of these platforms that keep evolving over time. And your capability as an individual to be able to fit into this space and be able to follow the attention span and also be able to follow the trends is what actually will set you above the rest. One thing remains key in social media, that there is so much noise. If you're not careful, like I have told you, if you don't know how you're going to arrange your conversation, if you don't know how you're going to be following trends, if you don't know how you're going to be following attention, then you're most likely going to create a scenario where people don't actually get into your space because you're always lagging behind, or you're creating a community but you're not moving as fast. What social media does, and let me tell you, there are social media sensations, okay? There are social media famous people. There are social media, you know, celebrities. In most cases, many people hit the jackpot. They get this attention, especially when they do something unique, or there is some maybe achievement they have made. They break the social media, they break the internet, and everybody is talking about them. And even brands do this. So a brand launches a mega campaign, or an individual, you do a startup, or you're a youth that you are helping organization start something. You do a one-time campaign that is so successful, and then you sit back and relax, and you never put in the energy and the time to keep improving on what you're doing. For social media to work for you, you must keep improving your game. Every single day, every single hour, there is a new app, there is something new, there is a new feature, there is a bug that has been corrected, there is a link that these platforms have created. You need to keep updating how you do this content. Like I said, many people do not actually believe that social media success is predicated on your ability to read between the lines and be able to project, because social media landscape sometimes is about being able to read trends ahead, being able to predict the future. Okay, that is what it is. If you're going to do a campaign that is about something, and this campaign is in the future, so you try to predict, is it going to be a festive season, is it going to be Christmas, is it going to be Halloween, is it Thanksgiving, is it Easter time? Okay, all these factors do matter, and this is where I told you that you need to be able to factor in what is trending, or what you think is likely to be the trending conversation, the trending subject. That is going to help you get yourself started so well. Now, the other aspect that you also need to understand as a young African that is using these social media platforms is that you don't have any limitations to how you use these platforms and how you express yourself. Take, for example, if you're a good dancer, you don't have to wait for people to teach you that dance like this. You can create your own niche. You create your own style. You create your own fashion. You create your own design of how you do things. And this is what creates actually uniqueness on digital platforms. This is why you find that one user can be having 1 million impressions and the other has only 10. This is what creates that. Now, as young Africans, as young people that are using social media space, one of the things that I want to tell you today is, if you can't dream and visualize your dream, then it is going to be hard for you to also make use of digital spaces. Because in reality, there are some tools that we need, or some things we need to achieve our end goals. And this could be academic, this could be business, entrepreneurship, it could be in talent development, it could be in football, it could be in music. If you dream it and you want to use these platforms to bring it to reality, here is how it is done. You don't have a job, or you have a job, but you want to create an opportunity that brings you extra income, or an opportunity that brings you an extra coin on your table. And maybe you're doing an 8 to 5 job, and you also want to create another avenue. So here is how to get started. Identify the fields you want to deal in. Identify the key people or the key influencers in that field. The key influencers could be individuals or brands, or they could be businesses. Okay? So in that field, understand how you fit into that community. Identify key individuals or key people that can actually bridge the gap between you and those brands or that individual that you think is actually in the industry you want to deal in. Now, one of the reasons you want to have this kind of collaboration, one of the reasons you want to build these rapports is you don't want to struggle so much to do things that others have done before, okay? Or you don't want to struggle so much to add value to what others have done before and you create something new. I have to keep drinking this water so that my voice remains stable. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about adding something to what people have done before. And this is why these rapports are very important. First and foremost, it will shorten the amount of time that it will take you to achieve what you want. Okay? But then also, it is going to help you to have collaborations that are going to help you in your field. And this is also very, very instrumental. At the end of the day, you want to create a line that is going to bring you value. You want to create a community that does not actually become an island. You don't want to be an odd man out or an odd woman out. You want to be part of this community and make sure that you tap into all the essentials that that community is doing. If you're going to be into tourism, if you're going to teach people how to speak English, if you're going to teach people how to write English, if you're going to teach people mathematics online, this is what you need to do. You need to understand the community that has been doing that before. What are they doing? What do you need to improve? What do you need to add? Otherwise, if you walk into this space and you want to do anything that you wish, then most times you'll end up somewhere, somehow getting stuck, and you don't have anyone to help you. Or you even do the same mistakes that these people have done years before. Okay, and that will make you lag behind. So do make research into the people that are in the industry or the sector that you want to join, and make sure that you get connected to them. 2, do collaborations. Never feel shy to reach out to people you think can give you support, to reach out to people you think actually have got the milestone, the people that have things that you want to do, the people that have been in that field. Okay, it becomes very, very, very important for you to do that. And as such, you'll discover that there are so many mistakes you'll avoid. There are so many gaps that you'll feel by having conversations and by having these connections to these people. Now, another factor, as someone that is starting out also, that I want you to know is social media success is not instant. Okay? Social media success is not instant. And also, building a successful community is not instant. This is why I have told you that the people that will do a one-time success, they will run a project and become successful, and then before you know it, their communities start collapsing, their presence on social media starts declining. It's because these people thought social media success was a one-night thing. It's not a one-night stand, actually. Social media requires you to nurture your community and grow it on a consistent basis. And when I talk about, you need to be patient as you invest in time, learning, and also make sure that you understand the platforms and what you need to be using to achieve the results that you intend to achieve. Okay, so that is also very, very, very instrumental. Now, the other thing that you must also give key attention to, and I repeat this because I want you guys to understand that coming out on social media to tell your story and being you is what actually will help you achieve your goals, is what will help you achieve your success. Because as you're building a community, you need to make sure that people understand you. As you're building a community, you need to make sure that people know who you are. That's a very, very big factor. People need to understand who you are, what you stand for, what your values are. And this cuts across also brands. If you're a brand that is making juices, if you're a brand that is making cosmetics, do people understand why you're making cosmetics? Do people understand the pros and cons of using your products? Do people understand the pros and cons of using your brand? Do people understand the culture attached to your brand? Okay, if for example you're making juice or you're making John Walker, say for that matter, how do you drink John Walker to get that exquisite taste? How do you drink John Walker to make sure you bring out that culture? You know, you drink, you take something, and your brain is actually in the shoes of this individual that came up with this product. Your brain is in the shoes of this person that is making these cosmetics. That's the kind of culture you need to be teaching your people. That's the kind of culture you need to be teaching individuals that actually are following your journey. Okay? So it becomes very key that you learn the process and know that it takes time. It takes time of education, it takes time of patience, it takes time of collaboration, it takes time of understanding for you to be able to build a platform that is actually going to open up doors for you. Okay, so one of the key things also that I shouldn't forget is content creation. Now, everything I've talked about is very important and is very key in this journey of you starting your digital opportunities, career creation, and all that. Content creation is king. Content creation is king. How you create the content, what techniques you use when you create the content is what I told you, why you need to know trends and attention and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the content that you create is what actually is going to retain and grow your community. So it's not a must that you must be a content expert to create good content. I think it's about learning what your community wants. It's about learning where you want to drive your community. And it's about learning what you think provides value for people that are going to be reading, watching, or listening to what you're saying. At the end of the day, you'll discover that you are actually going to need more time to study what your audience wants than just pushing out content for the sake of pushing it out. Okay? That will also become a very, very important thing. And if you're going to be doing that, then you also need to take off time and think about the reader. Think about this person watching your videos. Think about this person that is reading your texts, reading your posts, reading your articles. Think about them. When you create a story, what do you want to communicate? When you create content, what do you want to communicate? What do you want people to perceive? Okay? Most times, create content as a user, not as a creator. Create content as a user. Create something that you think if you read it, you would also appreciate it. Create content that if you came across it on social media, you would also open that post and you take action. That is the difference that you will make on your journey. Otherwise, if you start creating without thinking about the end user, if you start producing without thinking about the customer, thinking about this end user that is going to consume your content, that is going to consume what you're trying to do online, that is thinking about the fashion, that is thinking about that shoe, the movie you are describing to people, then it becomes so hard to create what will be loved by people. So, how do you tell you're creating content that will be loved by your readers? Create content and put yourself in the shoes of the reader. That is how you know that you're creating content that is very, very important. Okay? And the frequency of how much content you create is also determined by how long it takes you to do that content. For example, if you're doing videos, you're not going to create videos, 5 videos in a day. You give yourself enough time so that you know how long it takes you to create a perfect video, how long it takes you to create a perfect conversation. If you're going to be writing text, how long does it take you for people to internalize your message? And if you can put up 4 posts on Twitter a day, well and good. But if you're going to be doing a podcast and you think you'll be able to do 2 episodes in a week, then that should give you the tempo. Okay? If you're going to be posting 2 posts on Facebook per day or 1 post per day, that should give you the tempo. Do more research, do more thinking about what you're going to be posting next than just the action of posting. That is how you get started. This is how you start to read into your community. This is how you start to read into the people that are following your journey. Now, many of us get lost on the way because we open our eyes so wide, like I said, and there is too much content on social media that sometimes you just cannot filter what you need and what noise you don't need. But that is okay because you're not going to stop people from joining these platforms. You're not going to stop people from following you. You're not going to stop people from engaging with you. But you also need to have a certain direction you want to take. The biggest challenge people have or we face on social media and digital platforms is wanting to do everything. Wanting to jump onto this, wanting to jump onto sports, it is very okay. When you become an influencer, you can actually, most of the times, jump onto different conversations. But that's after you've established yourself as a brand, okay? But if you're still finding out what you need to be doing or where you need to belong, then you need to start focusing on building your community, building your platforms so that people know exactly what journey you're walking. Okay, sharing these ideas that you also think about the end user, sharing these ideas where you also think about the people that are going to be consuming them, what comes to their mind, what do they pick from it, how do they react to it, what engagement does it drive. Okay, how fast do you know what is happening around you, what kind of trends are making news, and what are you focused on? Because at the end of the day, like I told you, the biggest assets you're going to be trading in on social media is attention and trends. And that is something you should never take for granted. That is something you should always have in your mind as you start to create this content. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. And of course, I hope you guys learn a thing or two out of this conversation. And I also hope that you share this and learn with many other people who would want to create more opportunities using